yeah. I mean, it's hard too because I mean those huge, really painful ones where you've really been, a little bit, maybe a little constipated, and you almost know when it starts. You know, when it starts to come out, and you've maybe you've exposed just the tiny, you're crowning just a little, and you kind of, and you're dilated to a 8.
And there's that hard tip out,
right?
Touching cotton.
But when it starts to go, and you're like, okay, when is this gonna be the maximum diameter?
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting more, and that moment where you're like, you realize like this is gonna hurt. I'm gonna bleed from this.
Yeah.
And you look at it afterwards, and you're like, yeah, a third of that piece of poo has some bright red blood.
Yeah, it's almost like they hold on to the sides and scrape their way down. They're just so hard and like unhydrated.
That's horrible, and it's scary. Those moments where it's halfway out and you can't get it to fall.
Yeah,
it's scary. Like there's time. Yeah, you're like shaking, but that's gonna do no good, right?
No.
Because it's still in there.
It's just hitting your cheeks like a bell toll.
Isn't it crazy too? Like I've had moments where I panicked, in those moments where it was halfway out, and I panicked, and I'm like, it's not gonna come out, and I'm like, I don't want to reach back, and I'm like,
grab it.
I'm like, I get toilet paper, and I've done it where I'm like wrapping my hand in toilet paper, and I'm
like
like,
a mummy.
I'm gonna grab this thing and like see if I can, try to get it out.
Yeah.
And then I do remember one time I risked it all. I remember at my house, I had pooped. I probably held it too long. I was with is that time in my age where I was like, playing with friends was a priority. And I told you already, I don't poop anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so I'd go 2 days and not go.
Wow.
Sometimes I'd have to like sit, like I feel like I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm like playing with my friends. I'm like, hang on. And I'd have to sit on the ground and like wait till the urge to poo went away. And I'd be like, okay, now I'm good again. And I remember I sat down one time, and I started to poop, and it was the first time I remember being like, this isn't coming out.
Yeah.
Like I can't, I'm pushing as hard as I can, and I cannot get this to come out. And I remember I risked it all because I thought, it seems sturdy. It seems like a solid piece.
Yep.
I'm going to get up and waddle to the counter. And I did. I stood up, and I kept my kind of cheeks open, and I waddled, and it hung there. It didn't fall. And I'm like, I'm going to risk it. It could fall on the ground. And I made it to the counter, and I got a Q-tip. And I chopped that thing down. I chopped it down.
You chopped it? Mm-hmm. With a Q-tip?
With a Q-tip.
Wow.